Welcome everybody to Skeptalk Live, episode number 54. I think the mic's working. Sounds like desktop audio is working. Excellent. Joining me tonight is Shayna. I'm your host, Udo. Shayna, how you doing?
Very well. How are you doing, Udo?
Not too bad. It's been a while. How's the day been? Or how's the weeks been? You know?
Well, rough but better, getting better. And today was glorious. Yesterday, I hiked up a mountain, not like a serious hike, but decently. I'm sore today. We'll put it that way.
it's always the weather has been super nice for getting back out into the world. Gamer News Party, welcome to the show. How you doing? We've got some interesting stories today, Shayna. There's been a weird theme with the news that I found today. Just a shit ton of stories about bears.
All right.
Yeah, apparently it's the season for bears to just get weird. And I didn't go looking for bear stories. I did eventually go looking for bear stories because I was like, fuck it, let's just go look for bear stories. But after about the fourth bear story, I was like, holy shit, it's bear day. So we've got our sweet new bear image here for the thumbnail.
I love it. He's waving.
Exactly. Sometimes bears do people things. I definitely see that you did miss the last couple of 3 Gamer News Party, but it's okay. We're always going to be here. You can just show up whenever you're ready to go.
Yeah, I wasn't on the last 3, I don't think, so. Yeah. You didn't miss anything. No, I'm just kidding.
Old school gentleman, welcome to the show. It says that's a very welcoming bear. It definitely is. Some of the other bears that we've got in this show today, some are less welcoming, some are very much more welcoming than this bear. There's one that's going to definitely come across and hit that. What's the name of that? When something looks humanish, but it doesn't quite, so it messes with you. What's the name of that called? Well, fuck that one up.
Humanoid? I don't know.
It's that one specific term for when you're looking at someone's face and they're uncanny valley. Thank you, Gamer News Party. That's exactly what I was looking for. There's definitely going to be some uncanny valley bear.
I've never heard of that before.
So the uncanny valley phenomena is when you look at something and it's human-ish but not right, so therefore it messes with you. Or very human, just slightly wrong, will also cause an uncanny valley effect. All right, let's take a look. Let's get to pop into the show here.
I love it.
As always, this is a fair use talk show. What we're going to be covering here is news that happened in the world. And before you go and decide that it's time to hit us with a copyright strike, remember that criticism, parody, news reporting, and commentary are a thing. And so take a look at your fair use doctrine before you go for it. If you'd like to help out the show and you have a few seconds, feel free to hit this link and it will give us a shout out on Twitter saying what you're doing right now and possibly draw some more people to come talk. So, all right. I don't have an announcement for Friday for the new Skeptalk late yet because I'm still working on guests, but I'll definitely be able to tell you guys who's going to be on by Thursday. But our first... Gamer News Party, thank you very much for the tier 1 subscription for 3 months in a row. Hey! Thank you very much for supporting the Illuminati. All right. Our first story today is coming out of China. So when I was looking at this in the thumbnail, this looks kind of like a snail, but I promise you it's actually the back of somebody's head.
It looks like, okay, I was going to say it looks like a hat to me.
Yeah,
but.
yeah. But when I was looking at it in a much smaller frame, it looked like it was a snail. This is a propaganda poster from China that has been popping up recently. It's kind of a weird story. Red-headed academics, tourists, English teachers, and NGO workers. Blaze Black Sheep, thank you very much for the tier 1 subscription. 6 months in a row. That's half a year.
Wow,
yeah, exactly.
You're right. I didn't. 6 months. Woo!
Once again, thank you very much for the support. Half a year, Jeebus.
Right?
Episode number 54, half a year. Good to go. All right. So redheaded academics, tourists, English teachers, NGO workers are just some of the suspicious figures that Chinese people should be aware of befriending, according to new propaganda campaigns launched by Chinese authorities. So this is something that I was researching. Go ahead, Jan.
That's so bizarre.
Right. Even the rest of this
maybe
article
it's not, but...
doesn't expand at all on why it's specifically people with red hair. This actually, it's just mentioned, and the
like dyed red hair or like redheads.
Just says redheads, redheaded academics, tourists, English teachers, and NGO workers. Specifically redheaded. I'm wondering if it's a misprint, but this is showing up all over China. So if we get any viewers from China, please let us know. But it says posters on the subway in central Beijing have alerted commuters to some of the dangers in a campaign to stop people being tricked into spying on their country for foreign governments. You can still come back, the sign says, with photos of a young man and woman, heads bowed. If you confess with regret, you will not be charged for your wrongs. Your families will never abandon you. Your country will always have your back. The posters from Beijing's National Security Bureau include a hotline to call in dangerous times. So apparently, anti-spying campaigns are popping up all over China, but then they're warning about redheaded people, but they don't explain why.
Yeah, that's strange. And there's not anything else explaining why.
I searched for a few hours today trying to find out stuff. I'll tell you what, if you're brave and not at work, make sure to go Google around for redheaded Chinese propaganda and stuff like that. You'll get in some weird places. Chinese authorities have always been concerned about hostile foreign forces, but in recent years, the country has ramped up a public campaign to recruit citizens in its counter-espionage campaign through hotlines, cash rewards, classes, and annual National Security Awareness Days. So this is the kind of stuff that freaks me out. This is the kind of stuff that happens before a nation, really goes somewhere with something, right? So...
Oh, click the button. Yeah, that's what I'm like. And I don't know. There feel like there's got to be a lot more context to this. That seems such a random. I mean, I guess there's not a lot of natural redheads in China, but that's about all I can logically come up with.
Right, but I mean,
I actually don't know if that's even really true.
Right, exactly. I mean, I would assume that there would be, some people who had dyed their hair, at least, but I'm not sure if that's what they're specifically looking for. Like I said, I think it's gotta be a misprint in their propaganda, or somebody misunderstood something completely when they were told to write down a piece of something on a poster, right? But yeah, so everybody should take a look into that if you're interested in more. But I'll be keeping an eye out on the stories. I'm subscribed to that. I'm subscribed to that Chinese news source that I got this from. Once again, this is also possibly mistranslated by the software I use Google Chrome, but it. Gamer News Party says, could it be genetics or a mythology thing? I mean, it very well could be, right? There could be something about it I just don't understand that Chinese culture has with redheads, right?
Right. Well.
Old School Gentleman says, maybe I should not be watching this right before bed. Hey, it could be an issue, right? Well, here's a lighter story. This is an interaction news story. Our first of the day. I've got a couple of these.
Boy.
Right.
This could go really, really funny or really, really disturbing.
Right. This photo has been edited. I edited it with Photoshop, just in case you couldn't tell. Someone drew a dingle on you. How dare they? According to our next story, what is the next thing that you should do? Should you set the garage on fire? Should you sword battle to the death? Should you kidnap their child? Should you draw another dingle on them? Should you pay a wizard to curse them? Or should copious amounts of sex drugs be involved? Old School Gentleman asks why I have a picture of him. If this is actually you, I apologize for covering the story that we're about to cover. But Andrew Day says 5, pay a wizard to curse them. What do you think, Jada?
I'm going, oh God.
What did this guy do?
It might be 2 or 3. I want it to be 6.
Right. Old School Gentleman said 6. That's always 6. The answer. We've got 3 5s going on. All right. So, a 25-year-old Snowmass Village man pleaded guilty to felony arson Monday and was sentenced to 2 years in probation for setting fire to his garage to retaliate for a roommate who drew a phallic symbol on his face after he passed out.
Hold on. To his own garage, because it was his roommate that did it. Wow.
Exactly. Stephen Elmore pleaded guilty to 4th-degree arson in exchange for a plea deal that calls for the felony conviction to be wiped from his criminal record if he stays out of trouble for the duration of his probation. So he lit his own garage on fire, so I guess that they were able to give him a plea deal, right? So
he's probably deserved the penis
right,
drawn on his head.
I'm assuming that this guy had it coming. According to the police affidavit filed, Elmore discovered the drawings and confronted one of the men present, although Elmore's female roommate eventually admitted that she drew it on his face. Elmore then went downstairs to his room next to the garage and eventually started a fire in the garage. Elmore told the judge that he quit drinking alcohol and is feeling healthy and trying to look at the incident positively.
People.
Yeah, after I set my own garage on fire, I'd probably take a little bit of an introspective look. Like, what am I doing?
I don't know. If you're that stupid, do you have introspective times? Like, do you have those moments?
Right. Well, I mean, when you go park your car in your garage and go, huh, you'd probably then get that introspective, boost that you needed. All right. Our next story is a bit more mad. An Arizona woman is accused of sending 65,000 text messages to a man that she met online that she said that she thought she'd met her soulmate.
65,000?
65,000 text messages.
What the fucking shit?
Paradise Valley Valley police arrested Jacqueline Aids.
I'm gonna take a wild stab and say she's also a stalker.
Yeah, it makes sense, right?
Jesus.
They arrested Jacqueline Aids or Ades, A-D-E-S. It's either Aids or Ades, 31, Tuesday on suspicion of stalking and harassing a man that she met online, according to Maricopa County court documents. Court records say that Aids, I'm just going to go with Aids, right? 31 of Phoenix, visited the man's home and office while flooding his phone with threatening text messages. She began stalking the man last summer, shortly after meeting him on a dating website, according to the documents, which were submitted by the court police. Aids told reporters in a jailhouse interview that she quickly fell in love with the man. I felt like I had met my soulmate and that I would just do what everybody else did and we would get married and everything would be fine. She's just,
oh man.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds like a problem.
Insane.
Gamer News
really?
Party says
60,
red flag.
I'm sorry, but 65,000.
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that you could send that many text messages to all the people you know in your whole fucking life.
Right, exactly. She would sometimes send up to 500 in a single day. When reporters,
wow.
Yeah. When reporters asked,
she needs help.
Exactly. Well, she's getting it now. She's in the correction system.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, 65,000 red flags.
When a reporter
I'm not going to get over this one for a minute.
Exactly. When reporters asked whether AIDS recognized that the sending thousands of text messages seemed threatening, AIDS responded that love is not perfect. I love him, she said. Paradise Valley Police said that in a separate statement, the man called the department last summer when he found her parked outside of his home. Old school
So I was laughing and I know, right? 62,000 texts, absolute max.
Old school gentleman nailed it. Police said AIDS began sending threatening text messages after the incident, including multiple death threats. Oh, look what I would do with your blood. I want to bathe in it. Was an example listed in the court documents. Yeah, these are... Oh
my god.
Yeah, these are getting crazy. Angry Cicada says that she doesn't even have that much to say in a year, right?
Right?
She was arrested after finding her taking a bath in the home. I knew it! So another situation. So one thing, I forgot to say anything about this, but she is from Florida.
Florida woman.
Yeah, she's originally from Florida, and she was caught taking a bath in his house.
Are you serious?
Yes.
It's a Florida thing.
Exactly. You just break into people's houses and you take a bath in their house. At that time, they also found a large butcher knife in the passenger seat of her car.
With you for doing that.
Right. She was later released, but failed to appear on multiple occasions, the court records show. She was then escorted from a Scottsdale office building where the man worked. Police told the Scottsdale officers that she was the man's wife. After hearing about the Scottsdale incident, Paradise Valley police searched for and arrested her on Tuesday in Phoenix. And court documents say that she didn't want to hurt the man, and that the threatening texts she sent were because she did not want him to leave. Yeah, this is the super stalker. Chad, welcome to the show. Angry says, can't go to court, too busy texting. Right?
I agree with the Gamer News Court Party. Why did it take him 65,000 messages to report it? That's what's blowing my mind.
Right.
You can also block people. Change your phone number. You'd think that had happened before you'd get to 65,000. And also, how much memory storage do you need to store 65,000 texts?
Exactly.
And why would you do that?
Yeah. Chad says, is this the 100K text Nazi chick? 65,000K, and it doesn't say anything about being a Nazi, but she's definitely crazy. Definitely crazy. But she did definitely, for those of you just joining us, break into this man's house and take a bath in his home. So,
and also she's from Florida.
Right. From Florida. Weightless Wonder says, I feel like he just woke up one day, looked at his phone, and started playing The Sound of Silence. Welcome to the show, Weightless. All right. Our next story is a cool story for me, actually. So on the 9th of May, a fortune teller named Zoe, whose real name is Ann Thompson, was arrested by the New York Police Department on suspicion of defrauding clients out of over $800,000. No, go ahead.
No, I was like, yeah, not surprised.
Right.
One way or the other.
How she didn't see the police coming for her is anybody's guess. So the psychic, right? Didn't see the police coming. Ha cha cha. Police
I think I saw a headline. That was something, yeah.
So the police were notified of Thompson after two of her victims contacted private investigator Bob Nygaard, who specializes in psychic scams. Both victims would like their names to remain anonymous. However, one is the mother in her late 40s from Canada who was defrauded out of $740,000 by this lady, right? The second victim is a man in his 30s from the Midwest who met Thompson while on business in Manhattan last year, who was scammed out of $72,000. Weightless Wonder, thank you very much for the applause.
I mean, are they victims?
Well, I mean, it depends, right?
I guess it does. Like, how did it go? How did it happen?
Whoops. That stupid pixel. Sorry, hold on. Well, so wait, that's the wrong one. There it is. So I think I got a little bit more information here. So a psychic scam is a charge against a psychic for grand theft or larceny when they've been taking a large fortune from someone via deception or false promises. So Thompson's Canadian victim, for example, initially went into the psychic because she was having relationship problems. So she paid about $5 for psychic Zoe to read her fortune, she thought, right? Thompson, sensing a broken heart and a naive nature, quickly took advantage of the woman's distress and drained her life savings. She convinced the Canadian that she'd never find love again unless she bought the psychic 9.2 carat diamond ring. She also convinced the victim to spend a large sum of money on spells that would vanquish demons.
It's like survival of the fittest in a different way.
Right.
I'm sorry, but if you believe that, I feel bad for you, but really?
Right. I mean, but definitely this should not be allowed to continue because that's super fraud problems, right? I mean, yes, there are people who, this is the same kind of thing of grandma falling for the Nigerian prince, right? Yes. You shouldn't have fallen for that. But no, they should not be allowed to continue doing it.
Well, totally. I'm not saying that, but...
But okay, so she convinced the victim to spend a large sum of money on spells that would vanquish demons, as well as building a golden pyramid that would protect her loved ones from dying. Needless to say, the golden pyramid was entirely fictitious. Witness says you're getting some kind of double play. Yeah, it's if I talk too loud when the push to talk comes through on her side, then it will feedback sometimes. Usually I try to quiet down when she's talking so that, you know, that doesn't happen. It happens a lot. It's just a Discord thing. No, it's all good. It's not your fault. While Thompson is currently awaiting sentencing, Nygaard, the investigator, has already helped put a number of fraudulent fortune tellers behind bars. By his count, he has helped successfully prosecute 30 psychics and remove more than $3.5 million, and recovered more than $3.5 million for his client to date. Despite his track record, Nygaard still finds it difficult to get law enforcement to take clairvoyant chicanery seriously. While he says he's received excellent cooperation from an NYPD detective in regards to this particular case, all too often the police tend to treat psychic fraud as a joke. However, Nygaard stresses psychics conning desperate people out of large amounts of money is a serious problem. And that's one of the big things, is the people who are getting conned for this are desperate or heartbroken or...
Right.
Yeah.
It's actually really kind of one of the worst things you could do, taking advantage of people in that way.
Right, exactly. Not only in the NYC, but all over the USA. It's absolutely astonishing, Nygaard told The Guardian. Willis Munder says it's a serious problem until it's called a religion. Yes, that is very true.
God damn it.
So police and prosecutors need to wake up and realize that these self-proclaimed psychics are often part of organized criminal enterprises, says Nygaard. And so I actually reached out to Bob Nygaard. I was trying to see if possibly I could get him for an interview, but he respectfully declined. This is Bob Nygaard. He definitely looks like a private eye. He's a retired New York cop. He stumbled upon his new calling during an encounter with two women in Florida, in a Florida bar. After bringing down a high-profile Miami psychic, he wants the U.S. justice system to take fortune teller fraud more seriously. And while he declined the interview with me, he did give me a quote. He said, "I appreciate you mentioning me on your show, and I'm really glad that you are covering the story because it's important to spread the word about these self-proclaimed psychics' emotional abuse and financially decimating vulnerable people, and how often these self-proclaimed psychics are part of larger organized criminal enterprises," which is something that I'm definitely interested in researching, right?
Right, yeah.
I would be super, I think it would be
right in our wheelhouse.
This is definitely in our wheelhouse. If we were, you know, maybe one day we could help crack open the, you know, the psychics, you know, underground criminal ring. And if anybody's interested, that right there I just linked is a video.
I remember reading somewhere along the line, because I got really interested in not actual magic, but magicians, trickery, all that. So I was reading about it.
Right.
And one of the, I forget, what was I reading? I think it was something, it actually was years ago. I was remembering it was like a book about P.T. Barnum, you know, in his period of time, and a lot of the freak show things that he, you know, was showing. And they never allow a magician in the room when a psychic is doing a reading, because the magician knows the tricks.
Right.
And it's actually a big thing in that world. And I always thought that was very fascinating for some reason. Yeah, because it is a talent.
Right, for sure.
You know, people that way, but it's sad that people use it to manipulate instead of entertain.
Right. For those of you who are interested in an entertaining person in that kind of area, I can give you guys later a link to this guy. Aphrodite is what his name goes by. He does tarot readings on Twitch. He doesn't charge anything for his tarot readings. You actually just have to hang out in his chat, and it's kind of like the Illumies that we have. You earn a credit, right? And you can buy a reading from him with that. And then he makes money by people who enjoy watching his show, subscribing and donating. So it's pretty entertaining, I have to say. Anyway, the next story that I've got, I'm going to preface with this may trigger some people. I don't do this very often. And usually when I do it, it's because it's something absolutely gross, or it's something that is a joke when I'm saying that it's going to trigger people. This one is because it's definitely... this may piss some people off. I apologize in advance. I'm going to just let you guys take this picture in for a moment.
I have no idea where this is going.
So, an Australian sexuality educator recently created quite a stink over a suggestion that we need to teach babies the concept of consent.
I read that.
Yeah.
The article, I read the headline, and I big giant roll of my eyes.
Right. We need to ask babies permission before changing their diapers. Exactly.
That's really ridiculous.
Right. So this is
on many levels.
Deanne,
that's like,
go ahead.
Maybe the one thing you should not need consent from your child to do. I understand the hugging. That makes all the sense in the world. But
right.
Does this person have children? Have they raised children? Have they dealt with changing babies?
Well, so Deanne Carson is a sexuality educator in Body Safety Australia, which offers programs on empowering children and protecting them from child abuse. And she was interviewed on a national public broadcaster, ABC News, earlier this week. During the segment, she explained that she works with newborns' parents to help them create a culture of consent early in life. Carson used the example of changing a baby's diaper or nappy to illustrate her point. She would say, "I'm going to change your nappy now. Is that okay?" She said as an example of how to pose the question. Of course, the baby's not going to respond, "Yes, Mom, that's awesome. I'd love to have my nappy changed." But if you leave space and wait for body language and make eye contact, then you're letting that child know that their response matters. Oh, I knew that was where it's coming. Prince Bonus, thank you very much for the alert.
Is it a he? Is it a she? It's an androgynous person, that's for sure. It could be either way.
I am definitely. Let me see. The article refers to her as a she. So if I'm doing it incorrectly, that's the article's fault. Which I will link in the VOD. The educator's remark sets off a firestorm of debate online, with many social media users mocking her ideas and criticizing her credentials. And Sky News Australia commentator Rowan Dean labeled Carson's position as left lunacy. Which I agree with, right? I am more left than right, but I consider this to be too far. Just too far. Enid Down says, don't most kids not remember anything prior to like 5 years old? I have like one memory from being really super young, and I think it's like the one memory that formed, right?
And also it could be, did anybody talk to you about this memory, or is this something you've actually remember?
Yeah, I mean, I remembered it, and I've talked to my parents, and they remember it as well. And it was a bad thing that happened, and I remember it, right? I got bit by a bug.
Right. I'm taking the 2 classes I'm taking right now are learning and memory and cognitive development, which is exactly this topic.
Oh, yeah.
More or less, no, but yes, it's kind of, it depends.
Like, but, I remember
it's like you have a memory. Your memories are like memories of memories of memories, and you tend to remember the most salient things if you've attended to that memory throughout the years,
right?
Which is like obviously in your case. But then there's also the instance of planting memories where your parents or somebody explains the situation in so much detail that you 100% believe that you remember it because you have all the details.
Yep.
That happens too.
Well, yeah, it was what happened when I actually brought it up at a family gathering when I was, I don't know, 13 or something like that. Said, I remember this. When did that happen? And I described it, and then my parents told me, yeah, that sounds like our kitchen in California from when I was about 2 or 3, right? But then we moved out of there. And then they remember saying I got bit by it was an earwig, right? I got pinched by an earwig. Yeah,
that can be traumatizing.
Old school gentleman, thank you very much for joining us. Chada says, I remember one dream vividly where a biker gang shot me in the head with a bow and arrow from the back of a motorcycle. Things are getting crazy in the chat here. Witless Wonder says, actually, a lot of psychology suggests that babies learn a lot of words before they speak. So I get what she's thinking, but is she still wrong? But she's still wrong, right? And wrong being, after an ellipsis. It says that's PUBG, dude. Willis Wonder says, I have a memory from my 3rd birthday. Yeah, I mean, definitely. Okay, so like I said, this is a little bit weird. Oh, and that her response to all the criticism she got was, sadly, some people have chosen to ridicule me. Oh no, pink hair must be a lesbian. Which I'm damn sure she got a lot of that online, right?
Definitely.
That's just how the internet works.
The way she looks, unfortunately, isn't going to help her argument.
Right. My only criticism is that I'm not sure that this is necessary. I think that this may be taking...
hell yeah!
Yeah, a little bit too far. Right.
I mean... If you're changing your kid's diaper and they're freaking out about it, there might be something else you need to deal with. That's a very strange, that's a strange one to go at. Like I said, I understand the hugging them, the picking them up, the carrying them, but changing their diaper, that is literally like saying that that's necessary and they can't do that themselves.
Right.
It makes sense. It's like feeding them. You give consent to basic needs. Like they don't know yet that they have these basic needs.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, and then you start getting into the basics of mammalian, biology. Like when you've got a gorilla or another ape, right? They do not ask the children anything. And if you need the baby to not be right there and you need it over here, you grab it by the foot and wing it across the the jungle, because that's how it works. We've evolved beyond that, but there is no need to go this far.
I agree.
Gamer News Party says, I literally just saw a story today about a woman who was charged with child neglect because she didn't change her child for 4 days because the baby didn't give consent. Oh, yep. See, that's where it goes too far. Just too far.
Yeah. That sounds like lazy parenting.
Oh, Chad's dream was during the 80s when that was happening. Gotcha. Yeah. Prophesizing PUBG from when you were much younger. All right. So our next story is another case of taking it too far. So on the afternoon of April 5th, after giving 3 lessons at his alma mater, Kenton Ridge High School 22-year-old Eric Barga drove to the Covenant Presbyterian Church for practices of the bell choir and arrived about half an hour early at 6 p.m. Although the temperature was in the mid-50s after years spent in claustrophobic practice rooms while working towards his degree, he pulled the custom-made Fox 610 red maple bassoon that he had out of its case, sat on the trunk of his car, just like in this picture, and started playing scales, right? There was an orange sky in the background, he recalled. It was one of the first nice days. About 7 minutes later, Springfield police received a 911 call reporting that a white male in a jacket and jeans was sitting in the back of his car, on the back of his car in the church parking lot with what looked not to be an oboe, the instrument that Vargas says is his instrument is most confused with, but a long rifle listed under additional information on the dispatch form. In retrospect, what is considered a grace note, unknown if it was for sure.
Oh my God.
An unofficial review of the incident left at the request of the Springfield Sun News. The police chief said that the difference in how police calls turn out in this era of heightened awareness and danger of firearms begins with the dispatchers. They're filtering everything through their experience, he said. Among the filters of the emotional state of the caller, in this case, you have a citizen saying, hey, it doesn't look right to me, with the state of uncertainty about whether or not this object was a rifle, he said. With the information, the officers know it's possible that there is a threat, but it could be something innocent. Another piece of information on the dispatch records communicates that the lower level of the threat, he said, instead of it being classified as a call involving a weapon, the call was dispatched as possibly suspicious activity. So the reason this guy made it through is because somebody on the phone didn't put dangerous, has a gun. They put possibly suspicious, right? Enet Down says heightened awareness equals scared of everything, and I 100% agree.
Right?
So they didn't approach me immediately, Barga said. I saw a police car. It's a big police van roll up really slowly in the parking lot between the west side of the church and the east side of a former fitness center and previous Habitat for Humanity restore. I wasn't concerned that I was doing anything wrong, but moments later, the van pulled into the Covenant parking lot in front of him, and then until another unit that he hadn't noticed pulled up behind him, so he gets pincered in all of a sudden, right? And he said that the word tactics can seem hardcore, and it involves a common sense and thoughtful way that police use to approach a potentially dangerous situation. So this article, I think, is written to downplay what happened. I mean, personally, I think that the police probably just did standard procedure, like this guy might have a gun, right? None of them.
Right.
Yeah. In the many years he spent on the street patrol in Springfield before becoming chief, a simple tactic he used on a burglary call was to stop his patrol car a few houses down from where the crime was supposed to be taking place, so he could approach the house at an angle rather than straight on. As they approached Barga, the officers then using a tactical approach, and though the intent may not have been as hardcore, he remembers the feeling of the moment. He realized that they were confronting him. He put on a little dopey smile and said, "Did somebody call the cops on me?" Although he felt slightly tense, I didn't really feel threatened, he said. I didn't get nervous. Years of music school beats that out of you. Gamer News Party says begins playing I Fought the Law, right? He nonetheless did notice that all three officers were wearing protective vests, which, as it turns out, is standard procedure. Although not what people who experience it for the first time consider a standard experience. He also recalls that while two of them left the car, another one stayed behind. He had no idea why the police were there. Searching in his mind, he wondered if he somehow violated a noise ordinance or something. The notion that someone might have mistaken his bassoon for a rifle never really crossed his mind. In the right kind of light, he said, it looks like a bazooka, but I don't think it was that kind of light. eventually officers were giggling by the time they came to a stop, and one even asked the classic question, is that a bassoon or an oboe? Graf said that although it may have been an apartment from across the parking lot that thought that he had a rifle, that it was just a musical instrument. So this is ridiculous. I found a story.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it's just too fucking far, right? We've got guys who are, I mean, like, and you see both sides of this too. Like, you got all the guys doing the big, huge open carry rallies and stuff. I'm like, that's just too far. And then you got people who are, you know, open carrying oboes and police are called on them. That's just too far too, right? I think we all need to move a little bit more mid-ground again. But anyway, just thought I'd bring you guys up a little something to get a little bit, you know, sigh-worthy over. In news from Britain, are you aware of the Digital Economy Act that passed in 2017, Shayna?
No.
So what that was, it included a strict new set of rules regarding access to pornography.
Okay.
So
this is in Britain.
In Britain, yeah. Chat of CV says porn pass. Yep. When the law goes into effect later this year, regulators suggested that users will be able to purchase porn passes from their local newsstands to verify their age. So the way that this works, right, is that Britain banned a bunch of stuff, right? Like there was that was blowing up for a little while on the internets about what they were banning. Like they were banning specific types of pornography and stuff. But now, if you're on the internet and you're providing porn to Britain, you have to be able to verify the law or their person's age with specifically the way that they want it to do. The law requires websites to verify users' ages or face stiff penalties, and those who don't comply risk being blocked as an internet service or by internet service providers and could face fines of up to £250,000 or $350,000. However, the implementation of this the rules have been delayed by the British Board of Film Classification. More time to draft its guidelines. Once it does so, the new guidelines will require an approval from Parliament, and the government said that the industry, specifically the porn industry, right, that will be responsible for creating the verification software, with platforms such as MindGeek's Age ID cited as one way to verify the age. However, there are concerns about implications for privacy under such a framework because you're going to have to put your name under a porn database, essentially. Right?
Right.
So they've decided that a much more private way of doing this is to go out into public to your newsstand and buy a pass that says, I'm going to go fap. Like, this is... I just... So imagine, right? You're the guy who works in the newsstand, and old Steve has been coming to your store every day to pick up the news, right? One day he looks at you and he's just got shame in his eyes. And you're just all like, Steve, do you need a fat pass? I'm waiting for a Reddit to pop up that it'll eventually be like a bunch of guys who work at news stores and guys who go to news stores talking about the time they had to go buy a fat pass.
Right? can't hide anymore.
Right, the UK is falling apart. Welcome to the police state. Right, exactly. Well, I mean, when they start telling you what kind of fucking porn you can fap to, that's where I start having big issues. Freedom of speech is falling apart in the UK. Pretty bad. All right. So, another cool piece of news. Shane, have you seen Infinity War yet?
Not yet.
Well, this has no spoilers, just in case anybody else needs to know.
Literally rewatched every single Marvel. That was bad. Marvel movie leading into
Right.
What is it? 12 movies. That's a lot of hours. It's been awesome.
Eat It Down says 2 kids are going to get a trench coat and buy one. But yeah, so this is spoiler free. No spoilers going on here.
I mean, I already kind of know what's going to happen, but
right. But just let everybody else who's watching know that I'm not going to spoil Infinity War for anybody, regardless of what I think of that terrible movie. Thanos proved too much for the Avengers in the latest movie. But he met with his match with the Toronto police. The main villain in Avengers Infinity War was arrested Friday afternoon following a run-in with an officer near Dundas Square. The picture on the right side is what we're referring to here. The left side is the original appearance of Thanos in the comic book. Behind the mask was a 42-year-old Frank Carassi, armed with Thanos' body armor and several Infinity Stones, and a handler to avoid bumping into pedestrians. Carassi took to Yonge Street to bring a bit of laughter to Toronto following the van rampage on April 23rd. I couldn't walk 2 steps without someone asking for a selfie, Carassi said. Among the selfie seekers was Sergeant Noel de Guzman, who stopped Carassi as he made his way down Yonge. While Carassi initially was worried that he was about to get in trouble, it turned out that the constable was a fan and requested a photo for his daughter. Carassi said that the scene was largely the officer's idea. Well, what started as a hearted banter between 2 Marvel fans and subsequently a photo for my daughter apparently exploded into social media, de Guzman said in an email to the Star. I'm thankful that it put a smile on many people's faces. So I found this image here, right, on Twitter, and I commented on it because I noticed that he's recreating the end of the original Thanos in the comic books, right? He had a helicopter and he was trying to get the cosmic cube from Spider-Man and Black Cat, right? And he failed, and then the police arrested him, which is something that you can't do to Thanos.
Right?
So when he recreated this, I actually mentioned that on Twitter, and I got a like from the actual officer. I was so excited.
Nice.
I was like, he liked my stuff. Another Reddit user posted, tongue-in-cheek, Thanos says, I have the Infinity Gauntlet. Constable Lamb says, I don't care. And then, yeah. So the costume was put together for the Toronto Comic Arts Festival this past weekend, and Carassi says his costume was unrelated. I don't know what that means. How it was unrelated, but... Oh! Okay, never mind. I see. I read that incorrectly. Internet users speculated the costume was put together for the Toronto Comic Arts Festival, and Scorsese says his costume was just unrelated. He just has a Thanos costume, which is way better. All right. So, American Airlines has made it very clear. Insects, goats, and hedgehogs cannot be brought on planes as emotional support animals any longer.
I didn't know that insects, goats, or hedgehogs were ever used for such things, but...
The airline has revisited its guidelines on Monday for comfort animals on flights. Those who want to bring such an animal on board now have to file paperwork 48 hours before a flight, and there are new restrictions on which type of animals are permitted. We support the rights of customers, from veterans to people with disabilities, for legitimate needs to train service animals and support animals. Unfortunately, untrained animals can lead to safety issues for our team, our customers, and our working dogs on board of an aircraft. Emotional support animals provide comfort to those suffering from emotional or psychological conditions such as anxiety, depression, and panic attacks, and they're typically allowed to fly on planes for free if they meet certain requirements. The use of such animals on flights has ballooned in recent years, American Airlines said that between 2016 and 2017, the number of customers transporting service for support animals aboard their planes rose by more than 40%. And now the airline is cracking down. Passengers with a support animal have always had to provide a letter from their mental health professional, but the airline said that it will be stricter about contacting these professionals well in advance of the flights and in order to verify the notes. Owners had been allowed to fill out paperwork the day of their flight or even at the airport, a spokesperson for American Airlines said. Flyers also now have to sign a behavioral guidelines for, or have to sign new behavioral guidelines for their animals. The form mandates. Dragon Daughter, thank you very much for that that applause.
Yeah, I think this is reasonable.
Right. Let's see, if someone has an ESA spider, I would not get on. Emotional support spider.
Either. That's like a phobia. That would be causing me anxiety. What about like the other people?
It now says that some animals are off limits because they pose safety or public health risks. This includes not only insects, goats, and hedgehogs, but also ferrets, spiders, and non-household birds like chickens and hawks. Unclean animals or animals with an odor are banned too, which is why I'm thinking that might be the ferret thing. But yeah, one, you should not have an emotional support goat. Goats are assholes. There's like there's nothing supportive about a goat. Also, their eyes look crazy.
Kind of, sort of.
I mean, I could totally see emotional support hedgehogs because they're adorable. But Willis Wonder says hawks can get labeled as ESA. I mean, maybe. I would love to have an emotional support hawk. Right?
Yeah, right?
Exactly. But yeah. Miniature horses, meanwhile, remain okay so long as they're properly trained service animals. All right. Angry Cicada says, what about llamas? I don't know. They didn't say anything about emotional support llamas, but I can imagine that not being the best situation for everybody. It's gonna be like 5 seats. Llamas are big.
Right?
All right, so here's our next interaction news story. So this guy, all right, so Burger King is closed and you need a burger. According to our next story, what should you do? Is it go to McDonald's? Is it force your way in? Is it call the manager? Is it start your own business, get your own Burger King, and have it your way? Get naked and fight the cops? Or copious amounts of sex drugs?
5.
5. We got a 5.
Or it could be 2. I mean, if we're going with what's happening with the face, there's definitely some altercation of some kind.
Gamer News Party says start your own business. Angry Cicada says 5. Liz Wonder says, in my experience with customer service, 2 is so goddamn common, right? Just try to force your way in all the time. All right. Gamers Party says it's the American way. Plays Back Sheep says 1, then 5. Excellent. So an intoxicated Plainfield man was so irate over being locked out of a Burger King that he stripped off all of his clothing and then struck an officer a few times.
I knew it.
Exactly. You nailed it, Shay.
He's got that look about him. I don't know.
Exactly. Sunday, the East Jefferson Street Burger King in Shorewoods experienced police were sent to the East Jefferson Street Burger King in Shorewood after employees complained of a man standing outside of a drive-through window, pounding on the window And then when he was visibly upset that the business was closed, he then started screaming at the employees inside. He was heavily intoxicated, and he hit the window one more time after police arrived. Then he proceeded to strip naked, then put his pants back on after he got completely naked, right? The officers determined that no one and no property were injured or damaged. So then they contacted one of his relatives to come pick him up. After a police sergeant tried to help him back into his shirt, the man Silverio hit the police officer. Then the officers handcuffed him and sat him on the curb. And then after it looked like he calmed down, he repeatedly tried to stand up. And then they took the cuffs off of him after he calmed down. When he tried to repeatedly stand up, a sergeant placed his hand on his shoulder. So Severio hit him in the face and then again in the chest. And then he was arrested. So they let him go after doing stupid shit twice. So he continued to do more stupid shit until they arrested him. Right. He's now being
they gave
held
him
in
chances.
Jail. Exactly. He was going to get away completely free. They were just like, take him home. Everything will be okay. But now he's in jail on charges of public indecency, resisting a police officer, and aggravated battery. So, Cicada says, that's the look of a man who didn't get his burger. Right. Exactly. He did not get a burger after this situation. Jana, what's your opinion on clowns?
I'm not afraid of them.
Okay.
I think not much. I don't know. I don't have much of a problem with clowns. Okay. I mean, I don't think that it was cool, those fucking weirdos that were freaking people out and smashing pumpkins and whatever the fuck, but... Right.
Well, this is this is a story about a guy who I'm pretty sure did some shit just to get his name and his face in the news, so I'm not going to show his picture.
Nice.
Because fuck that guy, right? So one of Belgium's leading children... just a second, that dog's going crazy. Yeah. An enemy dog in the neighborhood has approached his territory, so he's letting us know. And by enemy, I mean any dog. All right, so one of Belgium's leading children entertainers broadcast himself live on Facebook during a rooftop standoff with armed police before being arrested over the alleged murder of his former girlfriend. So, famous guy, I guess he's one of 5 actual professional clowns in Belgium. There's not very many of them. He appeared on Belgium's Got Talent and won an award for the best clown in the Netherlands, Belgium, and Luxembourg. Then he waved a pistol and threw a gas canister at police before finally surrendering. The 31-year-old who entertained children in the hospitals under the pseudonym Dr. Aspirin managed the careers of 15 other entertainers and had separated from his partner a few days before. She was named in local media as Carolyn D. 47, and the couple had 3 children. The clown, one of only 5 professional clowns in Belgium, is alleged to have visited the family home in Oudenburg, a town between Ostend and Bruges, on Sunday night, which was Mother's Day in Belgium. He did terrible things that I'm not going to describe. The children are okay, the mother is not. That's all that everybody needs to know. The officials at the children's school were not aware of anything untoward until Monday, when the clown reportedly had called in to say that they would be late. He also sent a text to his former partner's employer. On Monday afternoon, he was spotted on top of a 13-story apartment building in Breden, close to his parents' home, waving a pistol. He then live broadcast himself on Facebook as he threw a gas canister from the roof and started firing into the sky. He surrendered 4 hours later to police snipers, throwing down his coat, pulling his sweater over his head, and placing his hands in the air. So, Belgium clown nonsense.
Douchebag.
Exactly. No, I mean, just crazy, like where that went. Gamer News Party says he was just clowning around. Oh my god. Yep. But tis. All right. On to a much lighter story. This story, I guess maybe not much lighter. It's kind of a funny story. All right, so this is an endangered marsupial found only in parts of Queensland that has been placed on the federal government's endangered list for a really weird reason. It has sex too much, researchers say.
What?
So this is called Antechnus argentis. And it's an inhabitant to the highest peaks of the Crumbit Tops, south of West.
They have so much sex it kills them? Is that what's...
Right. Right.
Oh my god. There are much worse ways to die.
Exactly. The researchers say that the males have so much sex during the mating season that their bodies produce fatal levels of testosterone. At the same time, every year, they have 3-week sex marathons. And it's just a really big session of all the males and females trying to mate with each other as quickly as possible. And at the end of it, all the males die.
Oh my god.
By the time that the babies are born, there's not one male left alive, which pushes the species into a corner. It basically harms the adult population Australia-wide, the researchers say. It's basically a competition for the biggest males and the strongest sperm. The sex sessions can last from several hours to up to 14 hours at a time. The process is exhaustive, yeah, and takes a toll on females, but it's the high testosterone levels in the males that ultimately cause the death.
Interesting.
Right, exactly. It builds to such high levels that the males that it blocks the switch that turns off the stress hormone, he said. They just get these floods of cortisol, and it pretty much causes the immune system failure that results in internal bleeding, and the males just stumble around still trying to find females in the state that eventually just drop dead.
That is the weirdest story I've heard.
Right.
But not story, but like fact of nature.
Gamer News Party says, just gonna overdose on my manliness. No big deal. Yeah, so crazy little animal. It is that's why I called this one Death by Snoo Snoo, right?
Again, there are worse ways to die.
Gamer News Party says
hopefully they enjoy pleasure.
Right, exactly. All right. So I'm calling this next story the worst episode of CSI. You ever watch much CSI?
No.
Okay.
I've watched other shows of that nature, though. I get it.
Right. Well, this is just really like, if I was watching one of the CSI shows and they had this one on, I'd be all like, huh, I guess they ran out of fucking ideas.
But this is a true story.
Yep. So the thieves who stole a statue of the Virgin Mary in the cover of darkness were caught thanks to an unlikely clue left behind: a corn dog. The theft happened at the St. Mary's Catholic Church earlier this week, WSAW in Wisconsin reported. According to police, they discovered the food at the scene and were able to determine that it had been purchased at the Quick Trip gas station across from the street. Luckily for them, surveillance cameras were rolling and reportedly captured Brian Yonker, Miranda Lindener, and Katie Kelly making the purchase and then making their way across the street to the church. As officers were returning to the police precinct, they reportedly spotted two of the suspects outside of a home right across the street from the station, right from the police station. Right. The pair admitted to stealing the statue. It was returned to the church on Tuesday morning, and all three of the suspects have apologized for the theft, and the church doesn't plan to press charges. This quick police work. Don't worry about it, Sarge. We found the corn dog. Chad says that's a bold claim, right? Well, I mean, yeah, but I think that would be a very lame episode of CSI. It says security cameras are a huge boon to detective work. Yeah, it's pretty much does all the work. London loves them. Yeah, exactly.
CCTV, baby.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that would be a show I'd just watch. Just random feeds of CCTV all over the world.
I think that is a show.
Well, I need to find it.
Should be.
Quick police work. Quick police work at the Quick Stop. Oddcast asks, who's the chick? That's Shayna.
I'm the chick.
Or are you talking about the corn dog? Did you just assume this corn dog sexuality? All right. So here we go. What did you fucking expect is the name of this story. For as green and Dawn Marilyn McGregor's yard is, the Fort Worth couple are admitting that they are not green thumbs. When asked, they said, "No, are you kidding?" Marilyn said. She buys them and I tried to keep them alone, Dawn added. But of all the things in their garden that they've managed to keep alive, there's one particularly weird thing that they have. There's no mistaking the smell, Dawn says. It's like a dead body, Marilyn says. Alive and well in their front yard is a konjac, also known as a voodoo lily, devil's tongue, or snake palm, or elephant's yam, which is the weirdest name for a fucking plant I've ever heard. But according to the Botanical Research Institute of Texas in Fort Worth, it's known for its striking beauty and putrid scent, similar to that of a rotting corpse.
Yes. Why would you ever... Why?
It's this huge, like, purple lily-looking, like, plant, but apparently it smells like death and ass, right? When I felt like I wanted to puke, Marilyn said the first time that she smelled it. Most visitors can't get away from it, but this week it appeared that their newest visitor came specifically for it. He was sitting right here on the wooden fence, Dawn said. The he is referring to is a large vulture. It's just sitting there. It's just startling to see him sitting there, they said. They soon realized that the smell of rotting bodies likely have brought this vulture to their property in search of food. I could see that he was looking at the plant and kind of moving his way up to it. The McGregors watched through their window as the bird inspected its imminent meal, and then he eventually figured out, I don't want that to eat the plant. The vulture eventually flew off, fleeced by the flunky flower. The family hasn't seen the vulture since Wednesday at lunchtime. Without the lunch it apparently thought it was going to be getting. It has left, right? But they said that they're kind of attached to the plant, and it's interesting to see when and what it's going to do. After all, beauty is in the nose of the beholder. That's the worst thing written in any article I've ever had to read. But yeah.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, so apparently there's an old couple that has a fucking plant that smells like a dead body, and they think it's cool. So, I don't know.
Fuck those people.
Exactly. It's fucking dumb. Apparently there's a subreddit for watching CCTV. I'll have to check that out. Become one of those guys. Make some Twitch clip channel, or make some YouTube clip channels of CCTV that I'm watching. Yeah. All right. Squirrels in northern Michigan were apparently busy preparing for winter, as a car that was in storage over the cold months has been discovered to be the hiding place for the group of squirrels' bounty of pine cones.
Is this real? Is this a real picture? Please tell
me. It totally is. So Gabe Ari took to Facebook and posted a photo of more than 50 pounds of pine cones that were stashed under the hood of his buddy's car.
Wow.
So it's a nest and just a squirrel treasure trove, right? He gave a reminder to those that store cars during the winter. Remember to check your engine bays this time of year. The squirrels are sneaky. This was my friend's car today. The pine cones had expanded because of the heat from the engine, but the car worked okay once the pine cones were removed.
Cook collect pine cones.
Yeah, imagine starting your car and being all like, what the fuck's going on? Shit, pine cones.
I would be blown away.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I wouldn't immediately think squirrels. I'd be all like, what motherfucker put fucking pine cones in this? This has got to be one of my friends being an asshole. All right. So we're gonna move on to some talky business here. You ready for a fireside chat, Shayna?
More or less.
Excellent.
Sometimes these questions give me some anxiety, but
I went a little bit easy on this one. Well, okay, I guess the first one's kind of a dick move, but we'll go through it. So if a wild rich person appeared and told you, I will give your favorite charity $1 million, but I will also give a group that you hate $1 million, would you do it?
Can I lie to them about the group that I hate?
No. He's a magic wild rich person. He just knows. Like, say that you were very, very against. I'm just gonna pick NASA, right? So say you decided you hated NASA.
But I don't.
I know. I'm just saying, like NASA. Okay.
I don't know. Okay. See, it's clarification questions. Do I know what the charity that I don't like that's gonna get the $1 million is before I have to make the decision?
Yes.
Then it depends on what the charity that I hate is.
Well, I'm saying, okay, let's he's gonna give it to the Klan. He's gonna give the Klan $1 million, but he'll give your favorite charity also $1 million.
No, I don't think I could do it.
All right.
Like, if I could think of something that I really, truly do hate, I don't know if I could do that.
Right.
I'd rather find another way to get them $1 million.
Excellent. What do you guys think, chat? Squabbly says, Illuminati eye. Gamer News Party says, no, I'm not letting the Klan get $1 million, right?
Right?
It's a rough question, though, right? I mean, I definitely didn't go soft with this one.
These aren't questions that bother me. They're the ones where I'm trying to pull something from my memory. I'm not good at that.
Gamer News Party says, rob the rich guy and donate the money, right?
I don't know. I think if I could have done that, that's what I would do.
Right.
I think it's a pretty parameters are set.
All right. So, would you rather fight a single tiger or 1,000 spiders?
Single tiger. Period. Exclamation point for the rest of time always. 100%. 100 million bajillion %.
You don't think you could take down 1,000 spiders?
No. I mean, maybe if I had a rocket launcher and I was far away.
But you get shoes.
No. No. They could. No. One tiger. 100%.
Blaze Black Sheep says 1,000
I'll get that
spiders.
tiger purring, okay?
I can make it. Do you get a weapon? In both cases, you get a rolled up newspaper.
I'm going with tiger. I don't care if it kills me.
All right. Let's move on to the next one here. All right. So if you could have X-ray vision, right? But you have to focus to not use it, right? You know, like sometimes they're like, let me use my X-ray vision, and then they turn it on, right? It was the opposite. If you're always using X-ray vision and you can see through 2 layers of whatever, right? Like clothes and underwear. You'd have to focus to turn that off. Would you take that power?
No.
No?
It's not, I mean, I guess it'd be cool, but it's not a power that I really would care that much about in the first place.
Okay.
So, no.
I probably would, just because I don't give a shit.
I feel like maybe more men would agree with you than women.
Yeah, I suppose. That would make more sense. Yeah, because dudes are gross, right?
Dudes are gross, and it's easier to see them with their shirts off.
Right.
It happens a lot more often, more frequently.
Well, if you could also, but I mean, like you'd see through their skin if they weren't wearing a shirt, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
I could see literally X-ray. No, I'm good.
Right. Oh,
Yeah,
like
it's an X-ray out there.
Right, exactly. Squad would say they just rather look through normal vision. Like immediately, when I started thinking about this question, I was thinking like seeing through fucking walls and shit, right? Like I was like, oh yeah, I can see a bunch of shit, right?
I'm laughing at Chada.
Right,
I'm assuming
exactly.
people's perversion levels based on their sex.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Gamer News Party says about to be a T agent with an easy job. Oh yeah, TEA agent, right? TSA, gotcha. You're like, yep, take this guy off the plane.
I'm wrong.
Screw that guy. All right. If you were forced to choose a place to drop a nuke, where would it be? Right. So a nuke's coming down, and you get to choose where it's going down. Right. What are you gonna pick?
That's a hard. I don't think nowhere.
Right. You didn't launch it. It's already in the air. It's coming down. Right. But you have the ability to put it wherever it's gonna go.
Oh, I don't know.
Right.
The East Coast.
The East Coast.
That would cause fallout here. I don't know.
What?
The South.
You're just picking populated areas, right? Just.
Yeah, take out some Americans. That's I'd rather that than.
I mean, you could just nuke like Mount Everest or
Russia?
just like some like desert, right?
I might end up dead for saying that though.
I mean, you might lose a couple of penguins, but just go hit Antarctica or something, right? Like, there's all sorts of better places. It's all good. Nuke the whales.
Kansas, because no one lives there anyway.
Just wipe fucking Kansas right off the map. Fuck that place.
I think it was at Kansas or Oklahoma. It was literally giving land away because everybody was leaving because of it's like right in the tornado belt.
Right. Gamer News Party says sub-Saharan Africa because it has the lowest population density. Antarctica, let's stop beating around the bush regarding the CO2 emissions, right?
God damn it.
All right. Our next question. If you could outsource one bodily function, what would it be? It still has to happen, but you just get to be the ability to pay someone to do it for you. And it totally worked because magic.
A bodily function?
Right. Like, so
having to go pee.
Okay. You would pay someone to make it so that you don't have to pee anymore?
I drink a lot of water, so I have to pee a lot, and sometimes it's really annoying. I want to have to stop what I'm doing.
Chad says Kansas is literally flatter than a pancake. The blast zone would be much larger since there's less terrain resistance. Wow. Well, not to be in Kansas when the shit goes down. Chad says puking. Pay never have to have.
Oh, maybe that actually. I'm gonna go with that. Think about that. Yeah, stomach pain and throwing up. I don't want to force that onto anybody though.
And I was originally when I was thinking about this, I was like, bleeding. I'll just make someone else bleed for me, right? Like, but that's not a natural body function. That's just something that happens when you get damaged. So I thought of feeling pain. Make someone else feel my pain. Good to go. I'd be immune to everything. Gamer News Party.
Yeah, how about my
sickness?
Physiological reaction to a panic attack? Somebody else could do that.
Give someone else panic attacks. What a shitty job, right?
I don't want to actually do that.
Blaze Black Sheep says getting sick. No fucks. Sorry, Jimmy. Outsourced. That says breathing, right? Lots of money to be made, not having to worry about O2. That's a good point. That is a super good point. All right. You ready to get into cool stories, Shayna?
Fuck yeah.
This is where all of the feels happen. All right. Meet Pofficer Donut.
No. Yes.
In Troy, Michigan, a suburban Detroit police department is giving another cat a chance to take the law into her own paws. A cat named Pofficer Donut was sworn in Friday by a judge. A day after a cat named Badges. Oh. So pasted. Welcome to the Illuminati, taking over the world one follow at a time. Excellent. But Officer Donut was sworn in. Exactly. Sworn in Friday by a judge a day after a cat named Badges was removed from the Troy Police Department due to serious illness. Donut will be used for therapeutic purposes and public appearances. Troy Police say Badges will always be considered the department's first officer. And Troy Police pledged to add a cat to their force if it could reach 10,000 Twitter followers by April. It took just 8 days to go from 4,000 to 10,000. Yeah, Officer Donut.
I love Officer Donut. She's so cute.
All right, it's time for our first bear story. This is a bearglary. The large black bear with an apparent sweet tooth smashed a car window to get into 24 cupcakes inside. Nothing was left behind of the chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry cupcakes except for smeared icing and a paw print. Christine Allen, who owns a bakery, left the cupcakes inside of her parked Honda SUV in Rockaway Township on Wednesday night. On Thursday morning, she found a smashed rear window, no cupcakes, a paw print on the back seat, headrest, and lots of smeared icing. He ate every single one, she said.
Does your car insurance cover something like that?
I don't know. A random act of bear. That's interesting. I'm gonna call my insurance agents and find out. I'm just gonna be all like, I'm concerned. I saw a news story where a bear broke into a car. Am I covered for that?
I'm concerned.
She baked all the cupcakes in her shop in Denville, and she said she was being industrious and getting ahead of the large order when she loaded her car with cupcakes Wednesday night. Around 2 o'clock this morning, the dog started barking and started hearing a crunch, crunch, crunch sound, said Christine Allen. Her husband, Adrian Allen, looked outside and saw a bear in the yard. The bear was no stranger to the Allens, as he's been hanging out in the neighborhood for a few weeks. So now that he's broken into the car, it really raises a concern to another level. The first time this bear was seen by the Allens was the morning of April 22nd. But here's the best part. We have the video of the escape of the bearglary.
Yes.
He's so fat on cupcakes, he's having trouble.
Oh my gosh.
Their little dog is so mad.
Yeah, that there goes that gate.
How should I get in?
Oh, yep, he broke it.
He just breaks the whole fucking gate, dude.
Yep. Awesome.
Where did this happen?
This is in...
Fence repair.
He just said, I hope my insurance covers fence repair. This was in township of... Where'd it go? No, it's Rockaway Township, New Jersey. Gamer News Party says, God damn it, Yogi got desperate. Enet says that bear is diabetic. Black Sheep says that damn bear. I will definitely update the results of whether or not I am covered on bearglaries. Enet says I leave cupcakes all the time in care in national forests. In cars in national forests. Exactly. All right. So here's another bear story. So when Soo Yoon brought her family a puppy 2 years ago, she was surprised by how much the dog ate. A box of fruits and 2 buckets of noodles every day, she told Chinese media. There was, it turns out, a reason for its prodigious appetite. The animal has grown into a 250-pound bear. The family realized their error when the pet didn't stop growing and started showing a talent for walking on 2 legs. The more
headline for this too.
Exactly. The more he grew, The more like a bear he looked, said Mrs. Yun, a villager living near the city of Kunming in Yunnan province. I am a little scared of bears, she says. Chana says, OMG, I just saw this story a few hours ago. Right, exactly. The animal has now been taken into care at the Yunnan Wildlife Center after the family got in touch requesting for help. Footage taken by officials shows it standing about a meter tall. Staff were so intimidated by the animal, which had lived in the family home, that they sedated it before transportation. It's been identified as an endangered Asiatic black bear, which would fetch thousands of dollars if it was sold on the black market. The family say that they bought the animal believing it to be a Tibetan Mastiff while on holiday in 2016. Any embarrassment they felt may have been mitigated by the fact that they are not the first among their neighbors to mistake the ursine for the canine, and when they are on the lookout for an animal pet. In March, local media reported how a man also from the Yunnan province raised a bear after finding it roaming in the forest and initially believing it to be a stray dog. Man Bear Pig asks, how do you get that wrong? I mean, if you're really not paying attention or have never had a dog before, I guess you could be all like, yeah, it's a good dog, I guess, right? Gamer says they can bear this burden. Cha-cha-cha-cha. Shayna, do you want a bear? I want a bear. This bear looks fucking adorable.
Those ears. I just want to curl up inside his arms and hope he doesn't crush me.
Enid says, yeah, they don't know what dogs look like, right?
Clearly.
So after these bear stories popped up on my feed, I got a little bit sidetracked, and I started looking up shit about bears, right? And here's some videos that I found that I felt I should share with everybody, because they're fucking
Is that
amazing.
bear sitting cross-legged right now?
Yes.
Yes.
So this is something that I apparently can't show it here. Hold on. See if I can find the other one. Okay. Look at this. This is legitimately a real bear. This is not a guy in a bear suit. This bear is known as what was his name? Hold on. Pedals. This is Pedals the bear. He was born with a deformed arm. So he walks.
Oh my god, it's so cute.
Oh, it's kinda almost freaky to me, right? Like almost.
Maybe a little bit.
That's that whole uncanny valley thing I was talking about. He walks too human-like. It looks like a guy with saggy pants, right? Like a bear costume. But it's not. Yeah, this is an actual bear. Ha-cha-cha. I just gotta go over here. You don't bother me. I'm going over here. I'm a bear. Is that a camera? I better pretend to look more like a bear. Oh, well, it's time for me to go. Like, he's pretending to be a bear because, he's got shit to do. But he'll get back up and he'll just walk off. Just a sec. Watch it. There he is. I gotta get out of here. See you guys later. Right. So that is apparently a thing that bears can do. The other image was a different bear at a research lab that was doing the same thing. Right. This bear looks like he's about to walk into that house because that's his house and he pays mortgage. Right. Like. All right.
Yes.
So it's time for Florida Man. Let me give you guys your bingo link. And have we got some crazy fucking Florida stories today?
Oh boy.
Did you get a good board?
No, what you just said. I don't know. I haven't actually looked at the board yet. I just okay. You said we had some good stories.
Oh yeah. A naked Florida man was arrested on Friday at Daytona Beach International Airport after he prompted an evacuation with statements about a bomb. Valencia County deputies responded to a call about a suspicious person at the airport at 6:30 a.m. Deputies say that the suspicious person, later identified as 25-year-old John T. Greenwood, had gone into an airport restroom that was under construction. He then placed a bag inside of a hole in the wall and emerged from the restroom without wearing any of his clothing. Greenwood went to he went to the baggage claim area where he was chased by responding deputies. Greenwood was only wearing a pair of socks at the time. Deputies say that he did not immediately comply with commands to lie down on the floor, and he made statements indicating that a bomb was about to go off in the airport. A deputy deployed his taser on Greenwood, who was then taken into custody. Bomb and canine units cleared the terminal and confirmed that there were no explosive devices. The airport was reopened at 9:40. Residence Sheriff says, would that count as a police chase? Yes. I'm assuming that they chased the naked man just a little bit. He was charged with making a false bomb report, criminal mischief, resisting arrest without violence, exposure of sexual organs, and unlawful possession of personal identification of another person, which is something that they don't even touch on in here.
Is he a minor? He looks young.
Yeah, he does look a little young. But there's all sorts of stuff in there for it, right? Like, they started off with naked guy. The only thing is he didn't put anything in his butt, so...
I got 5 on this one.
Whoa, nice.
Oh, I guess 4. 4, because Florida doesn't... yeah.
Right. So, a Florida man was arrested after chasing down a motorcycle and pretending rather poorly to be an officer. On Thursday evening, a motorcyclist was cruising down Lake Minnesota shores, or Minnesolia, not Minnesota. Why did I get... Yeah, Minolia shores. He approached the intersection of U.S. Highway 27 and states that a silver pickup truck caught him off before he could make a right turn. He continued heading south, and the truck started driving aggressively, trying to run him off the road. According to the arrest affidavit, the motorcyclist escaped into a left turn lane, and the driver of the silver pickup truck leaped out and walked towards him. The pickup driver was wearing a camouflage pair of shorts and a green shirt. He said, "I the police," said the Florida man to the motorcycle driver. He had a plastic sheriff's badge in a black wallet that he whipped out to prove that he really was the police. He grabbed the biker's arm in an attempt to arrest him. The victim didn't believe that he was really a cop for whatever reason and pushed him away and told him not to touch him. That's when the pickup driver tore the rider's license plates off the bike. The victim was able to get it back, and he's being deployed for basic training within the United States Armies in a few weeks, so this was a good trial to test his resolve. He called the police to inform them of what happened because he was afraid it might happen to someone else. He chose not to prosecute because of the whole going to the army thing. A witness verified that the truck was trying to run the motorcyclist off the road. They made a U-turn and to make sure that the biker was okay, and snapped a picture of the truck's license plate. Police showed up to the home of the 65-year-old Roger Jimenez to arrest him. His side of the story was that he saw a motorcycle going 80 and driving recklessly. They stopped to talk about what was going on. He told the motorcyclist that he was going to call the police and let them know that he was speeding and driving crazily. He denied pulling out a badge. Police searched his truck and found a toy badge in the cup holder of the center console. The badge was a 6-pointed sheriff's star toy badge, plastic and silver looking. The witness verified that this was the same that they saw earlier. Jimenez was arrested and charged with false personation, burglary with battery, and petty theft. He bonded out for $31,000 the same day, and the court date is set for June 4th.
All right.
The best part is what he specifically said, "I the police." That's the quote.
Right.
"I the police." All right, here's our first black cape story. You know, the weird Florida man arrested wearing a black cape in the picture. It's definitely a thing that they do in Florida police. They put one of those like barber capes on you. A drunk Florida man was arrested on Sunday evening in the parking lot of a Sam's Club. 57-year-old William Thompson was reportedly lying on the curb, as most Florida men do when their drunken stupor turns into sleepy time. An Indian River County Sheriff deputy found him disoriented and groggy. Of course, he appeared to be intoxicated and was slurring his words and not speaking clearly. The deputy noticed that the mumbling creature had pissed himself. The Florida man was led to the cop car, stumbling away and staggering all the way. His bloodshot, glassy eyes working hard to judge where the ground was. When the deputy asked for his name, the man replied with, "Fuck you, asshole." A couple of hours ago, another cop officer found the same Florida man out in the same parking lot carrying an open beer can. He was flagged down with a sign that read, he was flagging down cars with a sign that read, U.S. Vet God Army Homeless Food. He was asked to leave. His reason for staying there was reasonable. He needed to sleep for a little while. Then he got more belligerent and started disrupting the public morals as if morality in 2018 is even a thing. This is all in the article.
Yeah, I'm like, this is a really colorful written article.
Exactly. He had an open bottle of brandy and a can of Steel Reserve when he was arrested.
Classy.
Of course it was Steel Reserve, god damn it.
Can that be unusual loot, or is that loot usual?
No, I mean, that seems like standard issue Florida man.
Damn.
All right. Daniel Thomas Roach told deputies that he was trying to kill the devil on Tuesday.
He looks like it.
Right. But now he's facing accusations that he choked a motorist with a hose.
Oh my god.
There's unusual weapon, if anyone's looking for that. This is the garden hose. Citrus County Sheriff's Office deputies started their search for 35-year-old Roach, Daniel Roach, right? On Tuesday, when the Crystal River man opened a door to a parked and occupied car. He then allegedly wrapped a garden hose around the driver's neck and tightened it, according to the arrest report. The victim reportedly was able to kick Roach, who was wearing blue pajama pants, off of him before driving away. He told deputies that Roach, who was able to identify police, kept shouting, "I must kill you. You're the devil. I must kill you." Enette, thank you very much for that bit.
One bit.
It is a bit. There's a bit for the hose homie. He told deputies that Roach, who he was able to identify, was shouting, "I must kill you. You're the devil. I must kill you," while he was strangling him. Roach's arrest report states the deputies searched for Roach near the intersection of Elmwood and Fanwood Lane, where the incident happened. Neighbors outside of a nearby complex told deputies that they spotted a man walking down the street and screaming. With his hands up, Roach later walked out of the woods off of Northwest Winterset Avenue, wearing the same outfit the victim described. They handcuffed him, who repeatedly says the devil is all around and that he just wanted the world to be full of love, his arrest report states.
Oh, that makes, yeah, your actions speak. Your words. What the fuck?
Right. He also reportedly asked the deputy to unholster his gun and shoot at the people driving by because they were the devil.
All right.
You know, a simple request. All right. Our final Florida man story for the night. Authorities say that a Florida man has been charged with driving under the influence after crashing into a stopped and unmarked sheriff's vehicle.
Wow.
The Florida Highway Patrol says that Rita Bolam was headed to his girlfriend's house, or I guess it's Rita Bolam, to his girlfriend's house when he hit the back of an Orange County sheriff's vehicle. The 45-year-old told officers that he had 2 beers before leaving the home, though authorities say that they also found an open can of beer in his car. 4 deputies were inside the vehicle, but were not seriously injured. 1 had minor injuries. Troopers said that Bolam had a blood alcohol level of 154, nearly twice the Florida legal limit. He's been charged with impaired driving, careless driving, and possession of an open container and of alcohol in a vehicle. It's not immediately known if he has an attorney. So not only did he hit an unmarked police car, but he hit an unmarked police car with 4 cops inside.
Oh wow, that's a Florida man story if I ever heard one.
Right, exactly. All right, time to move on to my favorite part of the entire night. That's where I get to show everybody some real stupid shit I found online. I love this stuff.
Florida man and the stupid shit for sale are definitely my 2 favorite segments.
They're definitely good ones.
I like Today and Cool as well, but
yeah. So you don't need it, but you might want it. Stupid shit for sale. So, Shayna, when I say Lucky Charms, what comes to mind? What's the best part?
The leprechaun, the colors. I don't like the cereal, but
okay. Well, I don't actually either, which is kind of funny.
It tastes like stale. It tastes stale.
Most people do. It's cool to find someone else who also doesn't like that shitty fucking cereal, right? Like,
I've tried. I tried to like it. I don't.
Well, here is Hoosier Hill Farms Charms cereal marshmallow 1 pound. This is literally just the marshmallows.
Ew. Those dehydrated weird ass fucking things.
Yeah. So now you can just add milk and then have marshmallows in a bowl by the spoonful.
People are into this.
All right. Yeah. People are totally gonna buy this. It's got 459 reviews. 78% of them are 5-star reviews.
Okay.
One word, Zomj. Awesome for decorating cakes. Ugh, you monster. You put marshmallows on a cake. I hope you...
Oh, that's disgusting. That doesn't look pretty. What the fuck?
Anyway, this is a sack of fucking nasty-ass marshmallows. I figured that most people like this crap. Mad Bear Pig says that is screaming sugar coma, lol.
Wood shavings with dehydrated marshmallows. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, there's a whole bunch of other people who aren't stupid. Excellent. All right. So, Shayna, have you ever wanted to smuggle booze into a place?
Yes.
Have you ever wanted to get drunk as fuck in the bathroom at a no booze gala?
Well, I mean, I don't ever like to get drunk as fuck, but yes, I suppose in some respect, yes.
Right. Well, now you can.
I already could, but cool.
With these 5 fake tampon flasks.
I'm not at all surprised this is a thing. I didn't know it was, but I'm not surprised.
Now you can smuggle booze.
So weirded out.
Exactly, and no one will know. Until someone finally catches you just huffing your own tampon, right? Like, you're like face deep in a tampon swing, and people are like, what are you doing? That's not what you're supposed to do with those. All right, Chad, how many of you are interested in these fake tampon flasks? It's only $10.14, and it's available for Prime shipping. One pack of 5 tampon flasks and wrappers made out of food-grade plastic. Each booze tube, I combined those 2 words together for an unfortunate slip-up, holds 1 fluid ounce. So these are fucking super small, too. But I guess you could hold individual
you said something
shots.
about getting drunk as fuck. I don't know if I drink all of those in succession that would accomplish that, but
right.
It depends on what is in them.
Oh, apparently Gamer News Party says, don't be like my friend and use these. He's a guy, by the way. Apparently there's a...
Really?
I hold a bunch of these fucking tampon booze tubes. All right, Shayna, would you consider yourself a gambler? Do you ever like to take chances?
I'm not a gambler.
All right. Well, then you may not have any use for these. But anybody in the chat who likes to take a gamble and maybe go for risks, here is the Just Grab and Go 5 pairs of emergency underpants for when you take that gamble and you lose.
I don't understand.
So the joke about shitting yourself, taking a gamble on a fart.
Okay.
Yeah.
That I can't say that is a problem in the world.
But so this is literally a box of disposable emergency underwear.
Isn't that called a diaper?
No, these are for adults, Shayna.
They have adult diapers, you know.
Right, but these are underwear.
I see.
So I found that, like, originally I found the accoutrements emergency underpants package. Like, literally, it's a single pair of emergency underpants you're supposed to, like, put somewhere in case you need it. But this is a dispenser for 5 pairs of them in case you have 5 times the need for emergency underpants.
Like a tissue. You just pull out the... Why would you need... I still don't understand. I guess because you throw it away when you do that.
Yeah, I guess
you
so.
don't keep them. Still...
How many pairs are in the box? It states 5 pair. Are the underpants cotton? If not, what material only? I honestly feel like a shower cap, although most are see-through. Definitely not for wearing. How many pairs of oh, it says 5. When cloth undergarments are just too much trouble, I bought a box of these as a Hanukkah present for my father-in-law. Supremely affordable and freaking thoughtful. What more could a gift giver ask for? I'm the best.
Wow. How did the person you gave it to feel about it?
Right. No. To quote Bill Cosby from back in the day, when you get into a car wreck, first you say it, then you do it. Where you say you're shit, and then you shit. Right? Yeah. Gotcha. So Shane, have you ever been cold?
Yes, all the time.
Have you ever wanted to be a mermaid?
Yes, a few times.
Well, now you can do both. Or
be warm.
I guess,
oh,
yeah, exactly.
I saw something like this recently, actually.
This is the mermaid tail blanket crochet mermaid for adult soft all season sleeping blanket.
I know a few people that would be so happy to have this in their life.
These are only $13.85. I've paid more for other blankets.
It doesn't look like a very comfortable blanket, though.
Right.
Looks constricting and not soft.
Oh, I forgot to put the links in for the last 2 things. Let me get it here. Here we go. There's the disposable underwear in case anybody needs that. Here is the blanket that we're looking at right now. Bam. But this is ridiculous. I mean, it's Amazon choice apparently. So this is so popular that Amazon has decided that it's good enough to be featured.
I mean, are you surprised it's popular?
Honestly, yeah. I thought mermaids were like less popular than they really are, but I was wrong. There's 4,000 reviews on this, and 77% of them are fucking 5-star. I was able to help my cousin fulfill his lifelong dream of becoming Ariel from The Little Mermaid. He said that the mermaid blanket couldn't have been more lifelike, and that the purple tail really brought out of his eyes. 10 out of 10 would buy again. Will buy again. Will be the only linens in my house. I don't know if that's safe. Hold on. Let me not click that. There we go. We're just going to go back. I realized that might have been like Twitch nipples getting me in trouble, right? Because it looked like when I looked a little bit closer, that guy was not wearing a shirt.
Twitch nipples.
Yeah, you get in trouble for Twitch nipples.
Yeah.
Yep. This guy put his cat in it, though. We'll do that. That one's good to go. There we go. There's a cat in the blanket.
I bet the next shot is that cat getting the fuck out of it.
Yeah, exactly. That cat's all, this is stupid. Let me out of this. But yeah, people were all over it. Udo's brain has left the building from the weirdness of this item. Right, yeah. All right. Have you ever really, really wanted to get somebody's attention, Shayna?
Maybe.
Well, now you can. This is the original hyper whistle, the world's loudest whistle, up to 142 decibels.
No, nobody ever needs this.
It's only
I'll
$13.
punch someone in the face for using this.
It's only $13 and available on Prime.
I swear I would punch someone in the face if they use that near me. The loudest whistles are loud fucking enough.
Right. 142 fucking decibels. Nobody needs that shit.
No, that's what I'm saying.
I can only imagine positive things would happen with this whistle.
Yeah, right. You're gonna straight like people are gonna zombies. That's how zombies happen.
Right, exactly.
Loud
Blaze
sounds and you drive people into insanity.
Blaze says this is almost louder than his 20 gauge, which is pretty crazy, right? But yeah,
Which is wrong.
it's Amazon's choice for loudest whistle, right? Yeah, exactly.
Fuck those people.
When you add the word hyper to stuff, that means it gets crazy. Squabbly asks if the guy comes with a whistle, and only if you're good. Gamer News
Yeah,
Party
right?
says that's as loud as a rock
For
concert.
$13.
Yeah. It works in all...
The guy better come with the freaking whistle, otherwise it's not even worth it.
I don't know, $13 to be able to just scare the shit out of somebody, right? Like, imagine somebody's
Be
like
the worst kind of troll ever.
somebody's in a park, right, and just like fucking reading a book quietly, listening to the the sounds of nature and the summer breeze, and you're just all like tweet.
Oh my god, it'd be so mean.
And then they'll be able to pull out their handy toilet paper or fucking underwear dispenser as you scare the literal shit out of them with your 142 decibel tweeter. Chada says, remember every 3 decibels is essentially double the previous.
I know,
Right,
that's
exactly.
Do you see my reaction to this?
Exactly. Nobody needs this. Only we all definitely need this. Gamer News Party says, forget the guy. I want the earplugs. Is there some badass earplugs? Does it come with its own earplugs? Because it needs it?
I would hope.
Yeah. Right. It can be used for boating, sporting events, life safety, camping, hiking. None of those things you need a whistle that loud.
No, it's an unusual weapon is what it is.
Exactly. If you're still missing unusual weapon on your Florida man card.
I'm sure someone in Florida bought one of these. I'm sure several people in Florida.
Probably says sure if you get lost. Yeah, I mean that's what this is for. But I cannot imagine that this would be used for justice. This would be used for great villainy.
Exactly.
Right. All right. Well, that has been episode number 54. That's all the stuff that I've got for us today. So Shada, what did you think? What was your favorite story tonight?
My favorite story? Pofficer. What was it? Pofficer something?
Pofficer Donut?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that picture.
For those of you who are just joining us, let me pull that up here real quick so that you know what the hell we're talking about.
It's the best.
Is Pofficer Donut right here. Recently inducted into the police force.
God damn, I love this cat. I want it so
Yeah, it's a good looking cat. Right. Okay. Well, Angry Cicada says, I will only allow Pofficer Donut to arrest me.
Right? Any day, I will elect myself to get arrested if Pofficer Donut can be the one.
Jada says, great job on time tonight. Thank you very much. Trying to make sure that we keep the content as usual as possible. All right. So next Thursday we got another episode, and then Friday I'm hoping to have my next episode of Skeptalk late going on if I can find the guests that I was looking for. But Shayna, you gonna be here Thursday? You got or school coming up, or
I should be, but I'm not 100%
all good
on that yet.
Gamer news. Thank you very much for that applause. But yeah, it seems like that's what we've got for tonight. So thanks everybody for joining us. It's been super fun. I enjoyed doing everything tonight. Yeah. Let's go see if we can find somebody to raid.
Sounds good.
It's always one of my favorite parts. Boop. Let's see who's going on here. We've got... Let's see. You know, we haven't done a talk show in a while. Let's see if there's anybody who is in a talk show that isn't crazy. Okay, bestowing and you a mechanical recap. LARP discussion, twin mask AMA. I'm personally interested in that, but that I don't know what it is. I don't have the chat open. Hold on. You guys are talking to me. I'm bad at this. See you later, squad. We could go. We could hit the LARP discussion guy. We could do. There's a you pick the topic where the guy looks absolutely crazed in this picture. It looks like a Florida man right there. Or there's Let's Get Risky, Rose from Hippie. I don't know what this is. Find out what this is, guys. Let's just take a look. What are you guys doing? Speak.
That's true. That's true. But
we've all seen way too many zombie movies, so zombie would pop up and we'd be
They're talking
like,
about zombie movies. What do you guys think?
just bang, dead, bang, dead.
I like LARP. I think I agree with Gamer News Party LARPing.
We're gonna go back. We're gonna go check out this LARP cast. I'm down.
I don't want to deal.
Thanks again for bearing with us. We have had a really poor connection here. In the future,
all right, let's go, guys. I'm into it.
Avenues. However, Google Hangouts has.
Thank you guys very much for joining us tonight. I'm excited to head off on this raid, and we'll be back. I'll be back Thursday. Shayna may join us. We'll see what's coming on. Jana, thank you very much one more time.
Yeah. Have a good night, everybody.
All right, bye, everybody. There we go. I'm gonna keep that sound from killing you. Give me just a sec. Pew, pew.
Work with
all right,
them,
can you
probably
hear him?
More plot to work with and avenues to engage outside of the script.
No, I can't.
So dig
cool.
into NPCs and their backstories is what you're saying effectively.
Yeah, we don't like, sometimes there are like characters we just need to send out to do this thing, but most of the NPCs we send out have weight to them. They have gravitas and they have they're more fleshed out. We don't like doing things for filler. Everything we do and plan usually has a reason, and there's more to it than just what you see.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks, Shayna. I had a bunch of fun.
Asks, does the world have
I'm gonna get up and walk around.
Okay, I'm gonna probably log off. So hopefully I'll see you Thursday. Otherwise, I'll probably see you in chat.
Yeah, definitely.
Have a good night.
All right, bye.
Logistically, I believe the answer is yes. It should have time zones. I would need to look at the map and figure out what those were, and that's honestly a question that probably doesn't have much impact on gameplay, because you really can't interact outside of your time zone unless you have some really specific spells. And for the sake of like role play and just the mechanisms to engage the game, if it's night when we're playing a game and somehow you manage like portal to the other side of the world, it's gonna be night there too, simply because I can't make the sun rise.
Right. Another question for you: who is your favorite Fae?
Who's my favorite Fae?
Yes.
Who? I really like Kazla. Honestly, Kazla's a great Fae. I also I have to go with Kazla. Kazla's a great Fae. Oh, and Detrius. She's a new Fae that's got introduced, played by Laura. Detrius is pretty cool.
Oh, I don't think I'd ever heard her name before, actually.
Oops.
Okay. So here we go. Here's another question. How much joy do you get out of watching the players squirm from the things that you do to them?
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
A great deal.
Just a second, CW. I'm sorry. I have a little background noise that went off. I apologize for that. You're free to answer now.
Right. The answer is a lot, and it's not just making
They're
you squirm.
coming
So
to get you, Barbara.
when I try to make you nervous and succeed, or when I try to make you uneasy, it's usually because I'm trying to convey an emotion. I just don't want to tell you, forsooth, you feel scared. That's not fun. So I use tactics to make you to reach into your little lizard brain and pull out emotions to help you stay in character and help you get immersed. So I enjoy making you feel things, whether it's panic or fear or worry or uncertainty or joy and happiness and all those emotions. If I can make you feel an extreme emotion, I've done my job.
Jeremiah Powell asks again, how often do the PCs survive a combat you thought that they wouldn't?
Oh, wow. So one of my favorite mods we did during the Battle of Edge, which was almost over a year ago now, we did what I like to call a merry-go-round mod. It's where we broke the group up into smaller groups and we fed them through a series of chained mods that accumulated that. So everybody basically ran a mod obstacle course, had about 5 mods in it. And the really interesting thing about that is we got to see the way different groups responded to the same mod in their makeup. And the interesting thing was, a lot of the groups that were made with the really heavy power hitters, the strong characters, they actually had the hardest time completing the challenges. And a lot of the new player groups that had to think creatively and really work well together defeated the challenges relatively easily. So that was one of my biggest surprises when we thought, like, well, this group has like all the big heavy hitters in it. They should be able to do this. Oh no, they're all almost dead. So that was great. In terms of length of fight, the final Teleska battle took a lot longer than I thought it would, but it was really great.
Yeah, that was an epic battle, but it was long.
That is probably one of my all-time favorite single combat mods. Like that was one of my favorites.
For those who aren't familiar, the Teleska mod was a culmination of a very long story involving one of your NPCs who had been tied pretty intricately to the story and the world around us. And then it all kind of came to a head, a very dramatic head. What can you tell us about that right now for the people who are listening?
I will tell you, it is not yet done.
Oh. Wow. That is a pretty big spoiler that we are now sitting on while we call CW right back. All right, thanks for hanging with me, guys. We are having a few problems here with the Google Hangouts, but we're going to push through. I'm going to call him again. I feel like we've got a few more minutes in us and a few more questions since we've been interrupted so often with these Google Hangout failures. Again, it's CW Fox. If you haven't already, please take an opportunity to read some of his blogs and some of the other wonderful game mastering tips and storytelling tips that he's put out there. He's beginning to come into the community a little bit more to share some of the wonderful things that he's learned about storytelling. And you can find him on Life Action Roleplay as well, on a number of their episodes, which I highly recommend you check out as well if you've not already. Hey, CW, I was just pitching Life Action Roleplay and some of your interactions there as well.
Sorry, say that again. I missed most of that question.
Oh, no, I was just saying that I was just pitching some of your Life Action Roleplay episodes as well, which you've...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Live Action Roleplay is great. It's ran by Ryan Omega, Kai, and Cynthia, all players of Twin Mask. Ryan, a longtime player from Game 1. Kai, within the last year and a half, 2 years, and Cynthia, I think it's only her 3rd game. But they're all amazing role players. They run a podcast called Life Action Roleplay, where they deal with LARP topics. I've been on, I think, 6 times now. I guess they like me or something. I've talked about how to build characters, how to play nobles, how to tell story. There's lots of really good stuff there. If you're a new LARPer or a veteran LARPer, I highly suggest listening to them because they're great. they have a lot of content that's all really good. Not just from myself, but they have lots of really other veteran personalities, from people that have run some of the largest vampire LARPs in the world, to people like that run Maze Arcana and the D&D live stream channel. Like, it's really worth giving a listen to.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a really a very verdant community that's surrounding a lot of these storytelling groups that you seem to be a part of. Everyone.
Just a little bit here and there.
No, that's a great thing. So I'm looking here. We have a few different questions. We have some people in the chat who actually are not part of Twin Mask, and they asked, what is the setting for Twin Mask? And I'm kind of curious, even for the people who know you and know Twin Mask, how would CW tell somebody who's never heard of Twin Mask before about Twin Mask?
Death is only the beginning. Twin Mask is a dark, high fantasy sword and sorcery role-playing game. I like to call it as a day in the life because it takes place in town or in various locations, and the players have to respond to the events going on around them. It's not like quest-driven. It's more living in the world, breathing, existing in the world. It's a really different kind of setting for the most part, and it lets you really get into your character and dive into who they are. It's heavily role-played. The mechanics support the role-play. It's about immersion. It's a very highly immersive game. But yeah, at its core, if I had to explain it very briefly, it's a dark, high fantasy game.
That's great. We are located in Southern California, if any of you are interested. We do have information, and the website will be listed in the chat. So if you get the opportunity, please come out and visit us and take a look. I'm going to find us a couple more questions to get out of this on CW while we still have you.
Of course.
Let's see what we've got here. All right, guys. Chat, you got one more question for CW? If not, I'm going to find one from of my own, which... Okay, I'm going to ask CW. Given the world of Tyr and all the mysteries surrounding it, given that the core indication and the core importance of this world seems to be so intrinsically tied into death, and the death not only of your player character, but the death of everything around you into like a rebirth. If you had one option as a character yourself in your ability to return, what would you try to do in the world?
Oh, that's a really good question. So when I make characters, I don't think about mechanics a lot. I go with the story of the character first, then find the mechanics that I need to make those work. In Twin Mask, with that in mind, in Twin Mask, if I were to make a character, I would make an intrigue, spy, or assassin character, because there's so much intrigue plot, there's so much nuance and subtlety in the story, and so much room for investigation. I would play a character that enabled me to get into as much of that plot as possible. It's a plot I enjoy the most, so I would make a lore-driven intrigue character, some kind of rogue scholar or assassin type character.
That's great. All right. Wait, we have one more question I'm going to ask, if you don't mind, CW.
Of course, go ahead.
Okay. For people who are also storytellers for LARP, can you suggest any communities online to join? Any storyteller resources that you would recommend or share?
Well, I'm going to recommend my blog, of course.
Of course.
No.
Valid.
There are lots of really good communities out there. LARP Haven is one that's one of the biggest, but the group fluctuates quite a bit.
Okay, we lost CW. I'm going to pull him back to say goodbye, and we're going to give this Google Hangout the burial it deserves. I apologize again, people. You know, I'm trying to keep him with us, but there's only so much that can be done with whatever's choking on this connection. However, we seem to be good on this end, so let's just keep going, plugging away, and see if we can't get a little final sign off from CW. This will be the last time, CW, but you were saying...
Hopefully it will last.
Yeah.
So the other one I really want to give a shout out to or point you to is LARP House by Cheyenne. She does YouTube videos, lots of how to make things and how to like get involved with the first kind of stuff. She's actually in Europe right now doing lots of Euro LARP stuff, which is really interesting. But a very good community of people over there. I know there are a couple of other like LARP Alliance and the LARPette, which are really great communities as well. The trick is finding the community that you fit in. You might find people you don't mesh with, might find people you mesh with really well. Just look around; they're all over the place to be found.
That's great. So we're gonna make sure that all of those resources are listed somewhere in this video. It's gonna be on VOD, guys. I'm actually gonna go through and edit it, do some cutting so that it's a more full video as opposed to the stop-start that we kind of suffered through. Again, thanks for sticking with us and thanks for hanging with us through some of those technical difficulties. But more importantly, thank you, CW Fox, for joining me on this wonderful AMA.
Thank you for having me.
Great. And you guys, again, CW Fox, you can find him at cwfox.com. And there are going to be some lists here for you to take a look at some of these resources. And we look forward to talking to you again when we do this in the future. Thanks again,
Hopefully
CW.
Thank you very much. Have a good night. Good luck.
You too.
Don't die.
All right. And thank you, everybody, for watching. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, good stuff from Peeling. I think that matchup's pretty difficult
as he screamed at his ass.